If you're trying to get jacked, then you should drop the heavy weights and start doing lighter weights. Let me explain. When you're doing an exercise with heavier weights, like for example bench press, and you're doing, say, 3 or 4 reps to failure, it's not the best for developing hypertrophy, which is essentially building muscle. So, when you work out, you might not know this yet because you might be new, but the way you train, you can train in a certain way to get a certain goal, right? So, just by going to the gym doesn't mean that you'll get stronger and more muscular. Depending on the way you work out, you can get more strong or more muscular. You can prioritize this. So, by doing 3 to 4 reps when you work out, it's not the best for developing muscle, which is being jacked and stuff, which you already know. It's doing low reps is best for strength. You see, strength, it's basically how much force you can output. For example, bench press, how much force you can output in, yeah, essentially how much force you can output. And for strength, it would probably be the lower the reps, so the less reps, the higher the output you can do. Because if you're trying to do, say, 100 reps on bench press, you're gonna go far lighter than if you're trying to do 2 reps, right? You all know this, obviously, but it's because your muscles fatigue and they get tired, right? Like, for example, there's a reason I can't do my bench press PR that I do for 1 rep. There's a reason I can't do it for 100, right? Obviously, my muscles get tired. It's kind of obvious. So, when you train for lower reps, you're trying to get better at this strength output, and the more strength output you can do, it's the more strength output you can do, is the lower the reps is the more of a strength output you can do. So the higher the reps, the less strength essentially you're using, right? So I think you can follow me, but essentially, now on the other side of the spectrum, you have hypertrophy. You build hypertrophy by breaking your muscle fibers. So, got a nice view, right, of the muscles. So, if you do curls, for example, you break your muscle fibers, and that's how you get stronger. Your muscles rebuild. So, I do curls and I break these muscle fibers on my bicep, and then they regrow in like a few days, 1 or 2 days, and they grow back bigger. And then I do it again. That's the same for strength. You get stronger, but it's neural adaptations to your muscle instead of the muscle getting bigger. So, what you're trying to do for hypertrophy is you're trying to break your muscle fibers more. Okay? So, if you do a 1 rep heavy on a bicep curl, you essentially, well, 1 rep wouldn't be enough because you'd want to go to failure because it is a small muscle group. So you do, say, 3 reps. So the first rep isn't too bad. The second rep is a little hard. And then the third rep, oh, can't get it the full way. I just get it to here. So you could say this is muscle failure because I can't get it to the full complete rep. So I only get it to like here. So that's technically muscle failure. So I only really destroyed my muscle fibers like 1 time. And also, by doing the repetition, it's what builds muscle. So by doing this, I'm building muscle. So this is a really bro science explanation, but let's say each curl is a 1 point. So right now I have 1, 2, 3 points, 3 reps. Okay, so I'm gonna get my arm is going to grow 3 points more. Okay, now if I do, say, 12 reps, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, now I got 12 points instead of 3. Now it's obviously not a 1 to 4 ratio, it's more complicated, but I think this can put it into perspective. So, also going to failure, you basically, if you want to get bigger muscles, you should go to failure Yeah, you should go to failure, actually. I was gonna say you shouldn't all the time. You shouldn't always go to failure, but that's for strength. For muscle purposes, yeah, you should go to failure, right? And the ideal rep range for muscle would be 8 to 12 reps. Right? So I'm not gonna tell you do only 10 reps because I don't really like that. Some people might react better to 12, some might react better to 8, maybe even 15, right? You could even do 8 to 15 rep ranges, right? But if you're thinking, well, technically, if you get more points by doing more curls, wouldn't it be better to just do, say, 100 curls instead? And that way it's uh, 88 points more than 12 reps. I mean, sure, it makes sense on paper, but at that point, you're training for muscular endurance. So, essentially, we have three chunks. Imagine I have a timeline here. We got a timeline. So, this is going to be strength. So, 1 to 5 rep ranges. This is 1 rep. This is 5 reps. This is hypertrophy. So, let's just say, well, for the sake of strength, it could be 1 to 6, maybe 7 reps, right? 7 is borderline hypertrophy, borderline strength. So 7 to 12 is hypertrophy. Now, if you do 15 reps, I guess it's fine. It's still hypertrophy. Although, depending on who you talk to, they're going to say it's endurance or it's hypertrophy. But this doesn't really matter too much. You can experiment. You can do 12 reps, 15, whatever works best. 8 to 12 or 8 to 15. Then here we got basically anything above 12 or 15 to all the way to ideally 30. If you go beyond 30, if you're like doing 50 curls, bicep curls per set, that's way too much. You don't need that much, bro. Because at a certain point, imagine like a investment kind of thing, right? ROI. ROI basically means return on investment. So imagine a line that goes like this. You see it? Like that. Essentially, you're going upwards and you plateau. So this is like 1 rep, 5 reps, 8 reps, 12 reps, 15 reps. So here you start to plateau. So maybe if you're at 20 reps up here and you do 30, it's still a little more, but after 30 or 35, it's a plateau. So although you could do 50, there's no point in doing it because you're basically not going to get any more benefit than you would from doing 30. And why would you fatigue yourself doing 20 more reps? Okay? So muscular endurance is basically your muscle. What's endurance? A endurance sport is running. You're running, and it's so easy that your leg muscles, technically you're pushing away with each one like that as you're running. So, but it's like so easy. It's like not even 1% of your leg force output. So it's really easy. It's cardio. Same for swimming. If you're swimming, it's really easy. Hopefully, right? So it's not really muscular endurance. But what's muscular endurance? It's when you're doing a lot of reps, but they're kind of hard. It's like you're doing an exercise for a lot of reps, but the exercise is harder. So, for example, bench press could be muscular endurance. If you're going for, say, 30 or 40 or 100 reps on bench press, wide grip, obviously, because I'm a powerlifter, but since you're a bodybuilder, probably, I'm going to do a more close grip to hit your triceps and stuff, and full range of motion. So, you're doing 100 reps. This is technically muscular endurance. Well, technically, no, it is muscular endurance because your muscles, your chest and tricep muscles, and your shoulders, front delts, they're basically doing an endurance exercise, except it's harder, right? So, for example, imagine that as you're running, it's really easy, right? Now, imagine you weighed, for example, 5 times what you weigh. So now each little squat rep as you jump up and push off, right, as you're running, you kind of push and kind of squat at the same time. So you land, you go down, and you push up and forward. So like that, right? That's technically like a mini squat rep or whatever. Imagine you weigh 5 times what you weigh. each rep is going to be really hard. You're like, oh, like struggling, right? That's basically what muscular endurance is, except that it's not maybe 5 times your weight, it's maybe 3 times as hard instead of 5 times as hard. Okay, so essentially it's you're doing the exercise, for example bench press, but it's like if you were bench pressing say 10 pounds or 5 kilos or 10 kilos, it's like you could do this all day. I could probably, or imagine just like a PVC pipe, just benching it, right? You could do it for an hour. You would just get tired. You would like start to run out of breath, but you would still do it. Now imagine you did, for example, I don't know how strong you are. Let's just say 30 kilos, okay? You could probably do 30 kilos for like 100, or if you're a gym bro, maybe 200 or 300 reps, okay? So if you can't, now imagine like 10 kilos or something, right? It's really easy, but you can't do it for an hour without feeling tired. You'll, in regular endurance, you do the exercise and your lungs and stuff get tired, but in this, your muscles start to get tired, right? This is muscular endurance. So as you're like say benching for a ton of reps, you start to get tired. It's muscular endurance because it's so many reps. So back to the chart again, we got hypertrophy strength, so it's 1 to 6 rep range. 7 is like borderline, some people use it in strength. It's really close to 8 reps, which is hypertrophy, so you could use it for hypertrophy. So let's just say 7 doesn't exist. So 1 to 6 reps for strength, 8 to 12 or 15 reps for hypertrophy, and then 15 plus, 16 plus to 30 reps for muscular endurance. Obviously you could do more, but if you want muscular endurance, you could do it for 20, 25, 30 reps. The only reason you would want to go above 30 is that if you're preparing for a sort of sport where it's based upon muscular endurance. For example, in endurance calisthenics, you got these guys doing body weight push-ups, but they're doing like 60 reps, 100, 120. It's crazy numbers, right? It's impressive, but they're not training to get muscular, they're not training to make their muscles muscularly endurable, or they're not training so that their muscles become muscular endurance. You know what I mean, right? They're training for a competition that's about muscular endurance, and in this competition, the more reps the better, but they're doing a weight that is too easy that they wouldn't do 30 reps. It's so easy that they can do like 100, right? So if you do 30 reps in a competition where other people are doing 100, you're obviously going to lose. So they're going to train to beat their competition, which could be, we don't know, maybe 20 reps, 30 reps, 100, 200, 300 reps, right? Probably not 300, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I hope this was a comprehensive guide to hypertrophy, aka getting jacked, and this is why you should use lighter weights if you want to get jacked.